Hey guys, welcome to Armour of God, week 3, day 3. Alright, so day 1, we talk about the matters of the heart and how important the breastplate of righteousness in guarding our hearts. And day 2, we learn about different types of righteousness and how we are going to use the breastplate of righteousness. I'm sure all of you are familiar with the phrase, practice makes perfect. You know, as a worship leader and a dancer, I've lived with this principle. I won't stop practicing until I make things right or perfect. But I noticed that the more I focus on perfecting things or making things perfect, the more I mess up. I don't know why, but that happens. And guess what? This can happen in our spiritual lives too. When we practice because of our pursuit of perfection, man, I'm telling you, that can actually cause a problem. Now, let me tell you another type of righteousness. It is the practical righteousness. Practical righteousness involves putting off and putting on. During the time of Paul, the Ephesians will remove or disregard their clothing as a sign of their total separation from their previous association, and then they are welcome to their pagan religions. Let me read you Ephesians 4:22-24. It says, "To put off your old self, which belongs to your former manner of life, and is corrupt through deceitful desires, and to be renewed in the spirit of your minds, and to put on the new self, created after the likeness of God in true righteousness and holiness." So when Paul was talking to the Christians about putting off, he was not just talking about physical changing of clothes, but of formally and truly getting rid of their behaviors that belong to their old selves. And that is the next step in living righteously. Now that we put off our old clothes, it's time for us to put on our new clothes. Remember the imputed righteousness that we talk about on day 2? Through this, we are reminded that the righteousness of Christ is in us. And now it's time for that righteousness to be on us. And wearing the breastplate of righteousness will replace all of our old clothes. So it is our way of practicing righteousness, right? But let me remind you that Paul is not just talking about us practicing righteousness outwardly. You know, he also reminded us that we have to do it internally. Means it should come from our hearts. We might be doing things, but deep down our hearts, we don't really want to do it. Remember the times that your parents ask you to clean your room? You did it, but in your heart and in your mind, you were cursing them. Repent. So what does it mean? It means righteousness in our actions begins in a righteousness in our minds and in our heart. So instead of practice makes perfect, let's switch it up to perfect makes practice. What's the difference, you ask? Practice makes perfect is you trying your best to be perfect and yet fail. Perfect makes practice means you knowing that God's perfection is in you through the righteousness of Jesus Christ. And because of that, you will put that righteousness into practice. So, guys, put off your old self. Put on the righteousness of Jesus Christ, put on the breastplate of righteousness, and practice righteousness.